Greetings, royal family. You know what time it is. Got the blue sweater on, basketball wise, right? Hopefully you read the description. Hopefully you've seen tonight's episode. So let's get straight into it, all right? So episode opens up with where they left off from last week. Kristin is still having a meltdown. She's on the phone talking about she's about to go to jail. Cece and OG are having a conversation, and Cece's acting like, OG, I didn't know you were going to say that. I wish you wouldn't have said it, And Jackie's still trying to be the peacemaker, saying that there's a better way that this can be resolved. All of the other ladies are outside of the area that they were in, tending to Kristin's melodramatics. And I want to say this, Kristin, you really are more like Cece than you want to admit. That's probably why the two of you don't get along. And this victim that you're trying to play, it's really unbecoming. You really are like annoying. You really are annoying. So the next scene, we see, I think it's Shawnee. Shawnee is dealing with a break-in. Someone broke into her home, and apparently they burglarized other homes in the area. And thank God no one was hurt, nothing was taken, no one was injured or anything like that. And Shawnee's just basically talking to her son, saying, you know what, it's time for us to move. She wants to move anyway. New house, new life, new energy, new vibe. I'm here for it. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Fast forward, Cece and Byron are sitting down having a conversation. And poor Cece is, talking to Big Daddy Byron. They were talking about the wedding, how he's excited. She tells Byron what transpired at whatever event that they were at. And she lets him know that OG basically said, Kristin, she mentioned that, what's his name? Thomas is not his real son. But see, this is what I want to say. There's always casualties in wars. And unfortunately, Thomas was a casualty in this situation, because when OG said what she said to Kristin last week, right, in last episode, she was making a point that Kristin is fake and you're not really basketball royalty because Byron is not Thomas's real father. But prior to that, because they flashed back, and I totally forgot about this, what did Kristin say to OG? She said something derogatory about OG's boyfriend, but it was so derogatory that they had to bleep it out. So see, I don't like people who instigate things, and then when somebody fires back at you, you want to cry and run off and roll around on the ground with your crocodile tears. Like, it's annoying. You said something derogatory to OG. I don't know if it was about her or if it was about her boyfriend, but like I said, they had to bleep out what Kristin said. What did she say? Did y'all read her lips, or do you know what she said? Anyway, and OG fired back, and it was a read towards OG, not a read towards Thomas and Byron. But again, Thomas is a casualty of this bickering and this war between the two of them. So Cece is sitting down with Byron, and she's telling Byron, Big Daddy, they're all ganging up on me and they're saying it's my fault. And Byron says, no, it's not your fault. You don't have any control over what other people say. And he also said that Thomas is my son, regardless if he's my biological son or not. And that's never going to change, And he's basically comforting her and saying to her, Byron is saying to Kristin, this is not your fault. He didn't say anything about OG spilling the tea. He seems to be like, okay, it's no big deal. It is what it is. He's not my biological son, but he's still my son. I acknowledge him as my son. And I thought that was real interesting. He's taking up for his wife. Okay. But it really just shows he does not like Kristin. Like, he doesn't like her, and it's evident. You know what I mean? And fast forward now, the ladies meet up. Tammy, OG, and Jackie meet up. Tammy was nowhere around when all of this shenanigans was going on. but she's being caught up and brought into the loop. And Tammy has a problem with the fact that all of these women were kind of like ganging up on OG and nobody had OG's back. And she felt that Jackie was phony because she calls OG her friend, and she felt like, you know, she didn't have, Jackie didn't have OG's back. Now, I will say this. Jackie didn't have anybody's side, really. She's really trying to, you know, hold on to this character as peacemaker. And Jackie made a good point later on in the episode when Shawnee, Tammy, OG, and Jackie met up on the balcony for drinks and things like that. When Tammy called herself confronting people and confronting Shawnee or whatever. Jackie made a good point. Jackie said, you know, them two are going at it. You understand what I'm trying to say? What do I look like putting myself in the middle of that? Like, you know, they were going at it. You know, OG can hold her own. So anyway, back to the scene where Tammy, Jackie, and OG are talking. You know, Tammy's just basically saying, like, she doesn't like the fact that everybody's ganging up on OG. And yes, OG's a little rough around the edges. I don't know what that means. Like, are you talking about her physical appearance? Because these ladies seem to be extremely shallow. And I understand. I get it, because they live in Hollywood. They live this life where they're all in the public eye, so they have to keep up appearances. But what did Tammy mean? Yeah, what did Tammy mean by OG is a little rough around the edges? Like, what does she mean by that? Whatever. I guess Tammy can kind of relate to OG's plight of having a hard time fitting in, I guess, because when Tammy first came on Basketball Wives, it was a little bit difficult. You know, Evelyn was being mean towards her, and Shawnee was like, you know, kind of like, she was playing along, you know what I mean? I guess she didn't have like the latest and the greatest styles, and she wasn't up to date with her fashion. So I guess Tammy, you know, kind of sees a little bit of that as it pertains to how the ladies are dealing with OG, right? So, but I don't disagree with Tammy though. I mean, first of all, she's been MIA, and Tammy's like, look, I guess I need more camera time, so let me come in and act like, you know, I'm running everything and I'm going to get these girls together, you know? I thought that was real funny, but whatever, it's all for entertainment. So I'm not mad at Tammy, and I don't disagree with her saying that somebody should have had OG's back, because Tammy feels like Cece is the instigator of all of this. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't disagree with that either. So, you know, Tammy calls Jackie phony. Like right then and there, she says she's phony, and you know, Jackie's ticked off, and it didn't end in them fighting or anything like that. But you can tell that Jackie felt some type of way, because she respects and she loves Tammy. So, you know, Tammy just spoke her piece, and she says, nope, she needs to get a clearer understanding. So another meeting is called. That's where Tammy, Shawnee, Jackie, and OG are all sitting down, and Tammy's confronting Shawnee, you know what I mean, based off of what she heard, what happened. And Shawnee's just like, you know, no, I didn't say that. Tammy asked her something in particular, and she said, nope, I didn't say that. And I guess Tammy was misunderstood. Like, Tammy had a misunderstanding of what transpired, and they were able to iron things out. Now, Shawnee said something to OG. She said to OG, Kristin is using you to say what she doesn't basically have the guts to say, because she doesn't like Kristin. And I don't disagree with that. However, the beef that OG and Kristin have doesn't have anything to do with Cece, right? Like, Kristin is just like a rude, bratty, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I get how Shawnee could see that, and it does come across that way. You know what I'm trying to say? It does come across that way. And judging by Cece's body language last episode, when OG was telling Kristin about herself, you know, Cece was just sitting there like, you know, she didn't say anything. So I get how it can come across that way. But Cece is not innocent. Cece and Kristin, they're not innocent. They are not innocent. Neither one of them, right? So they resolved, you know, that issue, and Tammy apologized to Jackie for hurting her feelings. And, you know, Jackie apologized as well. And Tammy was a grown woman about the situation. And she, furthermore invited them to a brunch that she was having because Tammy feels that it's a good idea to get all these ladies together and so they can all hash it out, with the exception of Evelyn. So Shawnee says, now when you say everyone's invited, do is it everyone? And Tammy's like, look, we all know what I mean by everyone. Like, let's stop playing and let's stop, playing these games. Evelyn is not invited. So they have this brunch, right? And boy, oh boy. No. Oh, Phoebe. Phoebe is Evelyn's friend from the Bronx or from Brooklyn, wherever she's from. And she is in the studio. So Evelyn was invited down by Phoebe. Evelyn drags Shawnee along, because Shawnee feels like she wants to get out the house because it's a lot going on. She wants to move and all of this other stuff. So she needs something to clear her mind. They want to have fun. So Phoebe is down there at the studio, spitting hot fire into the mic, yada, yada. They sit down and talk. Now, this is where things get a little annoying. Phoebe is just saying like, hey, I want to be around people who are bosses. I need to be around people who are doing things because, I want to make my own money. I want to carve out a lane out here in LA for myself. You're a good role model, Shawnee. Bowing down to her, kissing her feet. And Shawnee says that Phoebe reminds her of Evelyn when Evelyn was in her early 20s times 10. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But Phoebe also goes on to say, they go on to talk about like OG and things like that. And they're all discussing the situation that happened when OG and Kristin got into it. And we discover that Phoebe has an issue with OG because wherever it is that they were all talking, and OG says to Phoebe, hey, like, do you have a gag order, in reference to Phoebe's kid's father. And I didn't see anything derogatory or offensive about that, but I'm not Phoebe. If she felt insulted, then hey. So then it turns into this whole, now there's an issue, I guess. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's like, do you have an issue with OG because Evelyn and Shawnee have an issue and you want to fit in because you're the new kid on the block? Or do you really have an issue with OG? And if you have an issue with OG, why are you not telling OG that you have an issue with her? Right? So fast forward, right? And Tammy's brunch comes to fruition. Everyone she invited was there, obviously except for Evelyn because she didn't invite Evelyn. So they're all sitting down and they're all talking and stuff like that. And Tammy lets them know exactly why she called this brunch and she needs everything to be hashed out. And she expressed that she doesn't like the fact that OG is being ganged up on. So who starts it? I don't even remember who starts. I think Kristin said something. Kristin started by saying, OG, that wasn't your story to tell. And, all of this typical Kristin talk. And they apologized to each other, right? Funny thing. Kristin apologized and, and so did OG. But Shawnee had an issue because when they were at their little rooftop meeting with Tammy, it appeared that OG took responsibility for her temper and stuff like that. And Shawnee didn't like the fact that OG was still arguing about the situation. First of all, Shawnee, you just admit you don't like OG for whatever reason. I could think of a few, but I'll hold my opinion on that. Let's just admit you don't like OG. You didn't like OG before this incident. So just keep it real. But whatever. So they apologized. Kristin and OG apologized. Then Cece and Kristin go at it. Cece and Kristin are arguing back and forth. And, Kristin starts with her temper tantrums. Why are you yelling? And it's just like, Kristin, you're so exhausting. What is your real issue? We still don't even know what the real issue is with Kristin. What beef do you have? You know what I mean? And it's like you're always blaming someone else. First, it's Byron being a bad grandfather. Then it's Cece keeping Byron away from you, your husband, and your daughter. Now it's OG working for Kristin and trying to vilify you. It's just, Kristin, what is the issue? You know what I mean? But whatever. So they're going back and forth. And then, Cece just says, you know what? I don't even care. I don't even care. I want to move on. I don't even care. You're never going to see me again. I don't even care. Jackie, she's gasping, Cece is just over it at this point. Malaysia decides to put her 2 cents in. And Malaysia is saying, like, imagine on your wedding day, you know what I mean? And you are marrying Byron and you look around, you don't see any of his kids there. Are you going to be okay with that? Cece says, yeah, that's fine. She doesn't care. And Malaysia also feels that, you shouldn't have said anything to OG. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have said anything to OG. So there was no real resolve, really, you know what I mean, during that brunch. And it was just a mess. Now Tammy dropped some jewels. Tammy said, listen, OG may have started that fight, but Kristin lit the match. And I agree. I think that Kristin is trying to find any way to defend herself because of the things that Kristin has said. Cece, is trying to find any way to defend herself because Kristin has been coming at her and blaming her for this separation between Byron, his son Thomas, and his granddaughter. And it's like, she was ganged up on. Cece was ganged up on last season. And Kristin thought she was like, on top and everything was all good. And I just think that Kristin feels like the louder she gets, the more she starts crying, everyone is going to be on her side. And it's just a lot of phoniness going on. Like, everybody lying. Like, that's not how it went. No one's telling the truth about this. I mean, yes, it's entertaining and it's for ratings or whatever, but these characters are just getting a little bit real ridiculous, right? And shout out to Tammy for being MIA, right? And coming back and being in charge of the girls and getting everybody together. Tammy, you really are a character, man. You are made for television and entertainment. I'm telling you. So anyway, so that situation happens and Malaysia decides to go and meet up with Byron, right? She feels like, oh, I've done everything I could. Now, mind you, I like Malaysia. Malaysia's my girl. But Malaysia's like, oh, I've done everything I possibly could. And I'm trying. Let me go meet with Byron. She meets with Byron. Now, I don't recall where OG said that Byron told her that she can go ahead and blurt out this news. Because Malaysia said that. Malaysia is telling Byron, OG is making it seem like you were the one that said that it was okay for her to say this. When did OG say that? Am I tripping? If I'm wrong, correct me, Royal Family. Let me know. I don't remember OG saying, well, Byron said that I could say anything. I don't remember that. Byron is just basically like, what's the big deal? Why was Kristin falling out and crying and rolling all over the place? Like, he even said that to Cece. He was like, it's not that big of a deal. And Byron, you a little phony too, because you told Malaysia, when Malaysia asked you, do you think that Cece is playing a hand in this? Do you think that Cece is wrong or this is Cece's fault? He said, I'm sure she's playing a hand in all of this. But when you and her were sitting alone, you said to her that, Cece, you're not responsible for what someone else does. You didn't correct her in this situation, nor did you do so in not the last episode, but the episode prior to that. So I don't understand. Poor Thomas, and Thomas expressed that at the end of the day, this puts him in a bad position and it's hurting his feelings. You know what I'm saying? Thomas, you need to tell your wife to keep her mouth shut. Byron also revealed, while Kristin was throwing tantrums talking about, oh, you don't come see your kid, you don't come see the grandkid. Byron reveals that anytime he's made attempts to try to reach out to Thomas and Kristin to spend time with Kenzie, it's always, oh, she's asleep, or another time, or this or that. And he also said that not one time has Kristin or Thomas ever contacted him to come over to spend time with their granddaughter, with the baby, nor has they ever contacted him to say, hey, can we bring the baby over? He said not once. Now, Malaysia didn't say anything, which leads me to believe that Malaysia knew probably knows that that's the truth. Just like Malaysia knew that Byron wasn't Thomas's biological father. So what is really going on here? Like, you guys you guys are being a little dishonest. Like, what's tea? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what's good? Malaysia said nothing. Malaysia is very vocal, and she speaks up when she deems it necessary. So I thought that was interesting. Going back now, Evelyn, this part ticked me off. This is why I saved it for last. This part really ticked me off. Kristin, some other girl who they kept panning the camera on in the jean jacket. I have no idea who she is. If you know, let me know. So Kristin, the unknown character, a new character, Phoebe and Evelyn decide to meet up. Because remember, Evelyn wasn't invited to the brunch. So, Kristin is filling her in on everything that's happening with the brunch. And it's interesting that is Evelyn friends with Cece? I'm confused. Or is Evelyn just using Kristin to just get the tea and keep herself in the know? I thought that Evelyn was cool with Cece, right? But I guess she can be cool with Kristin and Cece. It's possible as an adult. But Phoebe, again, with this girl. So Phoebe is throwing shots at OG, right? Because Evelyn's talking about how OG was so wrong. And of course, Kristin is saying, yeah, they're all bashing OG basically. So Phoebe decides to put her 2 cents in and saying that she doesn't like her because she came at me like I was a bird baby mother and asking me about a gag order. Do you have a gag order? Because she was talking about her husband apparently. So, OG asked, you don't have a gag order or, and Phoebe's offended by that. And she's talking trash. And then Phoebe says, I got kids by him because he gave me kids because he wanted to have kids with me. Maybe you should worry, something along the lines of maybe you should worry about your man and you should worry about why don't you have your own kids if you can have them. That pissed me off because in that moment you see Kristin acting like not even a 12-year-old, like a petty child, getting up and acting like she's running off. Evelyn, she puts her head down. Evelyn, really, Evelyn? You were just crying, bawling your eyes out about how difficult it was for you to reproduce. So, excuse me? And everyone was real sympathetic to your situation. You wanted everyone to be sympathetic towards your situation. You were very transparent about it. But you basically make light of the fact that Phoebe is saying something about OG possibly not being able to have children. You're disgusting. And Evelyn, sometimes I like you. Sometimes I like your character. And sometimes it's like, girl, you understand what I'm trying to say? But Kristin, you guys already know how I feel about Kristin. Why is that funny? Like, why is that funny? It's so, it's so hypocritical. You know what I mean? The things, when it's somebody else, it's, you know what I mean? It's a free-for-all. But when it's them, it's oh no, this is hard for me. And this is, I didn't think that was funny. And Phoebe, I'm sorry. What that girl said to you did not warrant you trying to read the fact that she possibly may or may not be able to reproduce. Is it that serious? No, you just want to fit in. It's all right, Phoebe. Don't worry. Because when they're done with you, trust me, they'll spit you up and chew you out. This is what I want to know, Royal Family. Do you notice a recurring theme when it comes to Shawnee and Evelyn as far as who they allow in their clique or who they flock with in their clique? Not who they use for gossip and who they use to try to get, the goings on or whatever, like with Kristin. Do you notice something as far as that clique is concerned? If so, let me know. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me know. But I just noticed something with them. It's like it's them two kind of like against everybody else. And it's like, we'll allow you to be in our circle for a little while until we're done with you. And then it's move along. You understand what I'm trying to say? But that Phoebe girl, everybody seems to think keeping it real. She's keeping it real. Let me tell you something. Ignorance and keeping it real are not the same. You understand what I'm trying to say? You being ignorant and boisterous and obnoxious doesn't mean that you're keeping it real. You get me? Like, I didn't like that. I did not like what she had to say about OG, and I feel like it was disgusting for Kristin, the mystery character that was there, and Evelyn of all people to find enjoyment or make light of that. Like I said, Evelyn, you had fertility issues. You understand what I'm trying to say? Tammy has had fertility issues as well. And even though Tammy wasn't a part of this, I'm just saying, like, this is something that affects a lot of women. Like, why is that funny? Like, I didn't find that funny at all. Like, I didn't. Even if I felt that Phoebe was warranted in her newfound hate for OG, you know what I mean? I still don't think that was warranted. I think that was disgusting. And it really shows how classless and egregious you are, Phoebe. That's all. So going forward, I'm not going to expect much from you. So when you do or say something real ridiculous and uncouth, I'm not going to be surprised, because that right there, when people show you who they are, believe them. And that right there showed me that you're uncouth, classless, and egregious. Royal family, be sure to get down in the comments and tell me what you think, respectfully as always. This was another interesting episode of Basketball Wives. Next week, we'll see what goes down. Royal family, I love you for watching. Be sure to thumbs up this video. Check out my other Basketball Wives reviews and my other content. Be sure to share if you like what you see. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get all my notifications and all that good stuff. But overall, Royal family, I love y'all. I really do. And I love you for watching. And as always, peace.